To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry Live 2.0. I'm your host, Sean Whittington. I'm a deacon in the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted house, my very haunted house, where I live. Got a great show today, but you all already knew that, and that's why you tuned in. I can't wait to. Well, she's back by extreme popular demand because every time she's been on here, uh, reviews are all positive and off the charts, wanting her to come back as soon as I can get her back. So she's back. Um, Real quick, if there's anything you want to know about my wife and I, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, there's a lot of cool things to see. My books are there. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every copy, every sale of every copy of my books goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. There's also my courses there, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. You can enroll in the course there at the website if you're interested. All my students that graduate that course get a stunning diploma along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly. And that's an excellent course. I'm the instructor, and it's all online. And there's a place also on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me about your spiritual issues. Other than that, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on a good friend, a close friend, and my new permanent co-host for the Friday shows in 2024. She is founder of Stellium Publications and Stellium Books. She's my publisher and my good friend, and now my co-host on Fridays. Please welcome to the show, Annette Munich.
Hi there. Hi, Sean. Hi, everybody.
What are you
I'm
doing?
very happy to be here. Very happy to be here. And I'm really happy because I know our guest, and um, I'm excited to ask her a few questions and see some of her art. But I'll be quiet until you announce it.
I will. I'm looking forward to just kicking back and letting you guys catch up because I know I introduced you guys to way back in the day, and
Right.
you guys are working on possibly a book for her, which I'm still crossing my fingers happens. I know um, she's an artist, and I know it's expensive to put together an art book.
Because of
But
the cost of color printing. Yes.
Hey, Sean, I think we might have a serious problem, and I just wanted to let you know about this. We might want to add someone to our prayer list because
sure,
I think Rick Garner may have had a stroke.
no way.
Yeah, he's calling you his man crush, so there's got to be something wrong with this cat.
I will add him to it. Yes,
Hi,
I
Rick.
I I have that effect on many people. In fact, TMI. Um,
I don't want to know about it, really.
what else did I want to say? Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys catch up and chat and talk about this stuff. I did. She sent me some beautiful paintings a few days ago, which I uploaded and sent to Zach. And so somewhere in the show, I know we'll throw them on the screen and let everybody see them and let her tell everybody what's going on and what the driving spiritual driving force behind each painting was. But I just love her. She's very talented and very gifted psychic medium, psychic portrait artist, and all that sort of stuff. But real quick, let's check the prayer urn. Bob R. from New York. Hi, Bob. One of my many resolutions this year to get more, to let go more and let God. Absolutely. I need help with health issues, money, and employment. Waiting for a sign from God. Can you pray I stay strong in my faith? Bob, that's a beautiful request. And You didn't ask for this. I don't have any on my desk right here, but I'm also going to make a note to light a candle for you after the show, and that candle will burn for you until it's done burning, and I'll have that in the room where I have all the other candles burning for everybody. But I will light a candle for you. But I'm just going to throw this out there. I know it's a cliche that people hear all the time, and it's not just for AA, but one day at a time, man. I'm going to find a nice prayer for you. Just take it one day at a time, and you'll be fine, brother. Okay, this is a beautiful one. I offer this prayer up for Bob in New York, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. In all my temptations, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In all my weaknesses, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In all my difficulties, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In all my trials, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In all my sorrows, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In all my work, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In every failure, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In every discouragement, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In life and in death, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In time and in eternity, I place my trust in you, O Sacred Heart of Jesus. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Bob, hang in there, brother. Keep in touch. Keep me posted on your your journey this year, your spiritual journey this year. And like I said, I will be lighting a candle for you after the show. Um, let's check the mailbag. Oh, there's a lot of them in there. I gotta get on it. Check my mailbag more often. Andrea, no last name, North Carolina. I have lived in an old haunted house for quite some time now. Nothing has changed. I have done nothing or anything different, but since the New Year's, paranormal activity has spiked. I would prefer the ghost I would prefer the ghosts here to be a little more quiet. Advice. Um, this is a good question. I'm going to hold on to this question for you've had paranormal activity. Paranormal activity seems to follow you because you publish a lot. You edit and publish a lot of paranormal novels, and there's some seems to be a lot of haunted energy attached with a lot of those publications. But I do live in a haunted house, and I'm not the kind of person that just so easily throws out make a deal. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But I know this is also
Do,
a great question for our guest.
do you know what I do?
What do
The
you do?
last times that I had a problem like that, I think you're going to laugh at this one because I will say, I understand that you're here. I will pray for you. Um, you need to not scare anybody. You need to be peaceful. And if you can't do that, I know people and they will come and drive you out.
There you go.
I actually do that.
That's a good one, and it
And
works.
it does work because it's kind of like a asking for a peaceful coexisting thing. I get it that you're here. I pray for you.
And I don't know, Andrea. You can reach out to me later if you'd like. I don't know exactly what your situation is, and I don't know you personally. I have more times than not, and a lot of people that don't think they're psychically gifted, and they're a little weirded out about that. If you say, "I think you're gifted," sometimes they freak out even more. But I seem to, in my humble opinion, these situations, it's the reason why it's like it is because the person in the home that owns the home and is living there attracts the spirits because of their gift. And sometimes these people don't realize they're gifted and they're actually attracting this. So I'm looking forward to meeting you, Andrea, and finding out a little bit more about your situation. So when you watch the show, get this message, reach out to me, let me know. But this is also a great question to run past our guest today because that's like in her wheelhouse big time. So before I bring her out, is there anything you would like to say to all your fans and followers or any announcements you got going on?
Right now, the new book that we have coming is by Kelly Schaefer. It's the Paranormal Pages, and that's going to be coming out around Valentine's Day. And anybody looking for any of our books can also find them on Amazon, and they're all in Kindle as well if you're a Kindle person. And also mention Ira's book, From Occultist to Christian, the Devil's Mistake, and that's Ira Wolf Knudsen. And your 2 books, all of that is over there as well for Kindle readers. We have a lot of Kindle readers.
Yeah.
A lot. I like to get a book and curl up with, a blankie, and I like to do it like that. I'm old school, but a lot of people really do enjoy the Kindle. Era's book will be available in an audiobook. We're doing our first audiobook, so that's really
That
exciting.
is, you and I must be psychically connected there because I was going to ask about that. What the what the demand is for that, and how hard it is to put one of those together, and why I never did that.
We will have a meeting about it.
Okay.
Put aside about 20 minutes and we'll talk about it. And I'm learning all about it now, but it's quite an endeavor to get one done.
Sean, it's
It's
because you
quite a
got to
bit.
read. You got to know how to read, buddy.
Well, what I would do is I would hire a ghost, not a writer, but a ghost, whatever. What's the person that would do that?
Yeah,
I
The,
actually got a couple good ones for you. I love listening to books on audiobooks.
see, I'm
I
getting
spend
that from so many people that I've been talking to, and they're like, but I love audiobooks. I love audiobooks. So there is really a market for it. So, funny that Zach would say he also enjoys that, form of, books. So I'm really excited about this.
well, you never know. It might be you, Zach, since I know Zach can read. I might have Zach, you know, be
You
the reader of
absolutely
my
could.
audio book, and he's
you
got my
know,
books there.
Angela, I love the fact that you put this in. My problem is, and this is actually something that I do struggle with. When I'm reading a book, I get that feeling. When I've got the book in my hand, I've got that feeling in my head. You can be doing something productive, but I can put on a book right here and I can do everything else that I'm
Sure.
doing. And I listen to books all day long. So Audible loves me. I know that Audible is a huge fan of me because I've purchased many, many books. So
See, and because there's a little degree of difficulty in getting an audiobook done, the last time, and don't, quote me, but the last time that I checked, like the top 100 in our categories, maybe only 1 in 4 has an audiobook. So there's a big market there, and not everybody gets one done. It's quite a bit. But
well,
we'll have a meeting.
yeah, I told you, Sean, that your wife's aunt, or grandma,
Yeah.
grandma, her book always pops up in my recommended reading, always.
Yeah.
So, which is
It
weird
does.
because I've never read anything or listened to anything about like what your grandma does.
I
But
think I was
it pops up in my suggested reading every night.
just
So,
looking at that book. Where did it go? Oh, it's not here. Sharon must be reading it. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that Sharon's grandmother. They call her Grandma Gatewood, and she is the holds the Guinness Book of World's Record for the oldest person slash or woman to ever hike the Appalachian Trail. And I forget how old
Wow.
she was, but then they wrote a book about her, and it's around here somewhere. It's a great book.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so and then that book keeps popping up on Zach's whatever that is that pops up for him. But alrighty, the moment of truth. The reason why we all tuned in. I love her. I respect her. She's really cool. I consider her a friend. Very talented artist, very gifted psychic medium, very gifted psychic portrait artist. Everybody knows her and loves her. Please give a big, warm paranormal ministry family welcome to the one and only Angela BOLEY.
Hi, thank
Angela,
you.
hi.
How
I've
are
been
you
so
doing?
excited about this all week.
Me too. Really looking forward to this.
See, she and I, we were friends, and we'll send paintings back and forth.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
But
right. You're a wonderful artist too, Annette.
no,
I'm
my
sorry
my
I didn't
stuff
mention
is
that.
just, like ordinary.
No, it's
Like,
not. You have
look
I
at my
have one of
tree.
yours in my book.
Here's a tree, here's a bird, but hers, some of hers is really, well, her art's beautiful, but some of it is really, it's, you get emotional looking at it. And then there were a few of them she sent me that I was like, I'm not even going to ask the story behind this, because it's like,
Mhm.
so I don't know, I know you've been on this show before, but I don't know if you ever told people how you got started with this, when you realized you had a talent, and how that developed into you going to haunted locations, and then painting what you're seeing and experiencing there. So I'm going to ask a little bit about your background and origin of all this.
Sure. So I first developed or got the gift of psychic abilities when I was 5 years old, and I had passed away from accidentally overdosing on aspirin, mistaking aspirin for candy when about 5 years old. Was rushed to the emergency room, bled out from vomiting blood,
Oh my.
and then I actually passed away in the ER. And I remember my whole experience. The doctor put a blanket over my head. I didn't understand why. And it was like I was going through a tunnel of these cobwebs. Then after the tunnel cleared, I saw this sunbeam of light shining through the ceiling. I still had a blanket on my face, but yet I could see everything in the room, could see the sunbeam. I traveled up the sunbeam, went through all the floors of the hospital, so all the floors. Then I was above the hospital looking down on the roof, and saw I was heading towards a great light. And I didn't know what this great light was. And I thought maybe I'm heading towards the sun. And then I looked over towards the sun. The sun looked incredibly dim compared to the light I was going to. Once I entered the light, I was just completely embraced by love. I felt this amazing intelligence, and I knew this was a source of all light, of all love, of everything good. And a voice in the light said, "Your body is made out of small structures called cells. I'm repairing every single one, and I'm sending you right back." And then I did the exact same thing, only reverse. I went down through the sunbeam, down through the roof, down through all the floors, and then I hovered over my body. When I realized my body was separate, when I was looking at my body on the table, it was quite a shock to me. But I hovered over my body, tried to line up with my body, and I heard, "Get up, get up, get up." And the third time I heard "get up," I literally leaped off the table, and I had been dead without a pulse, without blood in my body, without any activity whatsoever or sign of life for over a half an hour. And my parents were actually waiting for the coroner to come pick me up.
Lord have mercy.
And the doctor re-examined me, determined that not only was fully recovered, but I was in better health than the average child in my age, he said. But after I got home from that experience, I started to have paranormal experiences right away. I started seeing shadows because I got harassed by the demonic, who didn't want me to use my abilities or gifts, and didn't want me to recognize this as a gift from God, and that I had a purpose from God for these gifts. And as I got older, had more and more paranormal experiences, and they got stronger. So when I was in my 20s, one day I had come home, and I was about to just head right back out to go for a walk, and I shut the door. After I just got my coat out, and as soon as I did that, there was a man standing there that was skinned to the bone, from head down to his waist. And it was the goriest thing I've ever seen. I felt myself go into shock. And he was speaking. He was speaking in my head, but his mouth was moving. It was just bare skull with eyes in the socket. And he was saying that he was so disappointed in himself because he worked at a factory, and he got sucked into machinery while working on the factory. And he told me where this was. I drove past this place all the time, and he was just stuck. And he wanted my help. And I said, I didn't know how to help right now, but I'll see what I can do. Come back here and we'll talk more. And in the meantime, I got so shocked over this, that what I was seeing, because this is the goriest thing I've ever seen. All the blood drained down at me. I felt like I just went ice cold. Every hair on my head stood up on end. And I walked out. My dad said, it looked like you just saw a ghost. I didn't tell him what I experienced. I came back later. There wasn't a trace of him there. There was no blood on the carpet, nothing. And I realized like he's what we call purgatory. He's like stuck there because he's not forgiving himself. He's blaming himself for the choice that he made to work in a factory as opposed to just going on to higher education. And he just decided he was just going to cruise his way through school and smoke marijuana. And then he got this job and thought it was going to be okay. And he got sucked through, and it really wasn't his fault. And I pray for his soul every time I think of him, hoping that I'll cross over. And then eventually, many years later, I joined a paranormal group, and I had been painting portraits, pet portraits, things like that. But I was also having spirits come to me even before I would get to a location, sometimes even before I'm knowing that I'm going to go to a location. And they would tell me about themselves, and I would just paint what they look like. I'd go to the location, showing the painting, and the person would say, "Yes, I've seen that apparition. I'm not crazy. Yes, I've seen this here." And without any foreknowledge of the location other than where it is. And it's an amazing gift. I've seen so much happen, come through. I've seen miracles happen just because God is using me and using this gift and using this as a way to reach out to people in love and to show that they're loved. And there's no disconnect from God just because we're here. We're never far from love. And ever since then, I'm having spirits come to me, and I paint what they show me. People will come to me, and I will paint what I'm being shown by their angels, and I will just simply paint that. And sometimes it's souls in purgatory that are asking for help for other souls to get out of purgatory.
I would love to hear more about the miracles and the angels, and then see and do the stories on a few of your paintings. Sorry, Sean.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's did you go through a I talked to a lot of people like you
Mhm.
who have ended up, more men than women, who have ended up going into the clergy because they have that such a powerful um, meeting with God, if you
Mhm.
will. And I only bring that up because, I mean, of course, everybody knows there's nuns, but there's women pastors, and even my church, which is a Catholic church, ordains women to the priesthood. Did you ever go through a transitional period where you even ever considered that?
I considered when I was really young becoming a becoming a nun and becoming a cloistered nun. But I asked God again and again. He said, "No, I need you outside there." And Jesus himself kept coming to me. "No, I need you to tend my flock, tend my children, but outside in the world." And he would tell me this over and over again, that he didn't want me in that path. He wants me out here with people one on one and doing these individual, consultations or readings, if you will, and as opposed to being inside of a convent and going that route. It's um, he's helped me bring energy through from heaven. I always ask for the Mother God to bring the gate of heaven to open it up and to pour that energy through me and to the person that I'm reading. And I did have a woman that come to me that for a reading, she was very depressed. And when she sat down for me, and she was also in chronic pain, and I asked what rays of light should we bring in for her. And I asked Mother to open the rays of heaven. I asked what would be the best color combination. So I don't remember what the color, I think it was blue and white. And we brought in the colors, and I channeled those colors through me, and you could actually see pulsing of this energy around her body. We could both see it, and she could see it. It was just sort of like a distortion in the air. You could see these waves coming out of my hands. And as I went over her whole being, she said her neck pain disappeared. And when she tried on a dress that she couldn't fit in earlier, all of a sudden she could fit in it, and her whole demeanor changed and she was extremely happy and had such a positive outlook. And was completely new person, emerged completely wonderful, that she received some incredible healing. And I consider that a miracle because it was just a demonstration of love, of that, God is very personal with each of us, and he can use us, use our gifts, and he prefers to use us to help other people. So we're involved in that love as well. So we can be a part of that. And I really appreciate that's a gift also in and of itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, God has a purpose for you, and you're doing good work. Is there any particular phase of your gifts that you prefer to use over the others? I know like as everybody knows, you're a wonderful artist, but you also give readings,
Mm-hmm.
and you do healing and stuff. Is there any that's more um, rewarding to you, if you will, for lack of a better term, to use for people?
I'm not sure if any particular one gift is more rewarding to the other because I see and I hear, I experience everything. I see, hear, I smell, I taste, I feel, and I experience all that all at once. So it's hard to say which one is a favorite. But I love to paint, and then as I'm hearing what the angel or who's ever speaking with me, whether it be the angel or the loved one that has passed that is with them, relaying that information verbally, what I'm hearing, that is amazing because I can't believe how accurate it is and how poignant it is and how powerful. Like I have no knowledge, and this would just suddenly blurt out. Like for example, I would acknowledge this person, had a collection of like medieval medieval warfare type um, uh, type of collection of history, and I had no idea she had this. And this person, I got that. She says, "Yes, I collect those things." Another person, I kept getting Paris, and I was told that she wants to go to Paris. He says, "Yes, that's a dream of hers. She wants to go to Paris." Another woman came in. In fact, I think on most recent reading, I kept seeing a woman with long dark hair. I said, "I see a woman with long dark hair. She looks Native American to me. She's showing me moccasins, and she's playing music in my ear." And she said she cried. She said, because I asked my mother if she was still with me, um, as a sign to mention music to me. They make you say the word music. And that came through, and she just started crying. And I described her mother perfectly. Her mother looked Native American. And I saw her photo, and like, that's the woman I saw. And this happens again and again, and it gets more and more profound. And I just can't believe how accurate and how validating all of these messages that come through, no matter how wacky it seems sometimes, it resonates with that person, and
Oh
they
yeah,
immediately understand it, that this is real. This isn't something that's made up or for purely entertainment. It's that connection, that spirit connection of love that's being made.
absolutely. Do you well, let's I mean, you're like the total package. I mean, you do paranormal investigations,
Mm-hmm.
ghost hunter, ghost buster, all of the above. Let's tackle this question from this woman, Andrea, in North Carolina. "I've lived in an old haunted house for quite some time. Nothing has changed. Haven't done anything different.
Mm-hmm.
But since the New Year's, uh, I don't know where if they had a big, huge fireworks show in her town there, but something has spiked, caused the paranormal activity to spike. She would Obviously she doesn't want the ghost to leave. She knows she's in a haunted house, and obviously is okay with that, but um, she wishes they were a little more quiet. Advice. And you probably get that kind of stuff all the time with people coming to you. But so, if you got that message, what would your advice be for Andrea?
For something like that, I would simply say to the spirits, I wish you were a little bit more respectful on my space. I respect you and I respect your space, and you're perfectly welcome here. Please be respectful for my space and just set your boundaries. Like, I'm working between this time and this time, and this hour is your hour and this hour is my hour, and work it like that. Because if you're respectful of them, and it sounds like you are, and it just sounds like they're willing to get along with you. They're just getting a little bit more active. And it could be something to do with the energy level has changed or shifted, or they feel a deep connection with you and want to establish some sort of positive connection with you also, and want that communication to be open to you, so that you can understand. But if they respond and they respect your space, that's perfectly fine, and you'll probably get along.
Well, I'll have you speak for the ghosts. Um, why in your humble opinion,
Hmm.
why would you think a ghost, a disembodied human spirit, would want to hang around a location after they've uh, passed on but not crossed over? Why? And some hauntings go on for years and years and decades, and like, I mean, for
Well,
long periods of time.
yeah.
Why would you think a ghost would do that?
Well, for one thing, spirits may not cross over because they feel like they're going to be judged in a negative way. And if they haven't been judged in a negative way by now, they're not going to be. So they're just afraid that so much that it's going to be a terrible transition to the other side, and it isn't. So I just ask for Mother God to open the gate of heaven. This is what I do for all the spirits. I offer it to them. And any angels or any loved ones that want to help those people cross over who are currently haunting, bring them through and let them help them cross over. And then there are some people that just have such fond memories of the place that they want to stay. They're afraid to cross over, and they're afraid they're not going to be able to come back and visit. Well, they can come back and visit. It's just a matter of educating them. Yes, you can come back and visit. Heaven isn't going to stop you from coming back and visiting your loved ones or visiting the home that you loved. That's not an issue. I mean, you're welcome to do that. And then there are some people that just have this sort of unresolved, they don't have forgiveness for themselves or forgiveness for somebody else, and that's holding them back. So they're in that um, state of purgatory where forgiveness is an issue, and they need help with that. And you pray for them and ask for counselors from the other side from heaven to come and counsel them on forgiveness and help them move past that so they can move out of that state and then finally cross over.
I believe in them. I pray to mine every single day. What's your thoughts on guardian angels?
My guardian angels, he has earned his paycheck, and if he, and
Yeah.
plus, because I had some rough entities. They seems like they constantly they've attacked me since I was a child. Some of these dark demonic entities, and then recently that's ramped up. And the last year I was in my car, and while I was driving in my car, there were two voices that were, the radio was off, phone was off, but I had voices in my car, disembodied voices chanting a prayer against me, and there was this discordant music that was just coming out of nowhere inside the car. And I said, I'm not afraid of you. This is nothing to me. This is still going to happen. They were trying to prevent me from meeting this person who I had a strong connection with, who was a vendor, another fellow vendor, and I was going to meet with him. And we have so much in common, and it was a really good, positive experience for me to meet with him. And because he lives in Cincinnati, I live in Cincinnati, and it was important for him for me rather, to have that connection, acknowledgement of what happened, because I had this cult put a contract on my life when I was in my 20s, and that cult is still around, and to acknowledge like, hey, that really happened, and they still really do that stuff.
Yep.
Was there. And that felt like something healed from me, because I didn't have that validation from anybody else. And very recently I was coming back from doing readings, and my car, while I was on the way home, some entity got in my car and was speaking through my speakers, laughing really deep demonic laughter, saying the standard, kill, all these horrible things. And I turned my radio off and said, no, you're stopping right now. I'm asking the Holy Mother to come help, and we're kicking out. And as far as it left, it did try to follow me home. And the mother Holy Mother showed me what it looked like, but she was keeping away, and she actually sent these 7 beings of light. When I got home, I could feel it, I could smell it, I could see it. it had this horrible odor, and I could sense these 7 beings, and I could even see them psychically. These 7 lights, these 7 beings came through, and literally, I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to say a prayer. I didn't have to throw holy water. They just rushed in and threw and pushed this thing out. And I'm going to have my schedule to have my car blessed this Saturday, because I certainly don't want any more of those hitchhikers in my car with that type of harassment. It just seems
Well,
like they retaliate
I
against any good that I do.
I thought about you. Well, you were going to be on the show anyway, but totally unrelated. I was sitting in my living room and I have a couple of really cool. They call them coffee table books, and they're usually
Mm-hmm.
big books. They're filled with pictures. And I thought about what a wonderful coffee table book, a book full of your paintings would be. And I'm going to let you and Annette chat about what is it going to take to maybe get that done one day.
Oh,
We've already had a meeting about this. The cost of color printing is a little bit prohibitive, but we could do it. The book would be expensive.
Yeah.
Other than that, if we did it in black and white, of course, the stories are still absolutely wonderful, and people could see the paintings and get the gist of them, but not the whole experience. As it would in color. The ones that got selected maybe to put on the cover would be in color, but we already talked about this. So, it's something that's on the table. Of course, in Kindle, everything comes out in color and there's no printing, so it's not a problem.
Oh, that would be very
So
cool.
Kindle is, a wide open. But, I wanted to see some of her paintings while we still have time. I wanted to,
Absolutely.
the last time you were on the show, there was a painting of I think it was a girl in Afghanistan or something, and it
yes.
just broke my heart, her and her story. There's something, I'm not saying I'm special, but I can click into the emotions in her paintings, maybe because I have artistic background, but I can just be like very pulled in by my heart. And some of hers, they were actually kind of disturbing, and I didn't ask any questions about them. I'm just kind of like,
Mm.
I felt something about them that didn't feel like, I'm not saying that the painting's bad. The emotions it brought up in me were kind of like, am I describing that correctly?
You're right, right. Because I mean, there's some of my paintings, like the one of the little girl you probably refer to or see from that uh, there's tragedy and behind it, and a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, and sorrow and anger and all of those things, that sense of victimization. But there's also, when I paint these things, I want to make sure that soul moves past that point and goes to forgiveness, that they have that opportunity, and all of them want that. So it's usually not an issue to help work with them and then cross them over. And that's the whole reasons why we with some of these paintings, with some spirits that will just independently of any living person, come to me and ask them to paint to help move souls out of purgatory, to express that sorrow, to visualize and tell people their story this way, so they can get that release, that comfort, that acknowledgement that yes, they've been told, they've been acknowledged. Their whole story has been expressed emotionally, what they went through, and then helping them cross over. So that's
I
what have been my
you,
past few paintings been about.
you did recently send me this. I think that within the past week, a
Mm-hmm,
few wonderful paintings, newer ones, and I
mm-hmm.
did send them to Zach. If he's got them loaded up, I might have him just throw them up one at a time, and then you can
Sure.
tell us, um, the spiritual connection behind that and the driving force that brought those up. I
I'll
love that
Can't
work.
definitely.
believe you're wanting me to work.
So this one is in honor of the French soldiers who died in World War I, and I did have a French soldier come to me, and this purgatory. He was stuck in purgatory, and he asked me to help cross him over. He was stuck in a very depressed state, and he was a veteran of World War I and World War II. So
Wow.
yes, and he had lost a son in the Second World War who was about 30. He was a double agent. He helped liberate a camp that we both have a connection with, which is the uh, Dosweiler Stahlhof concentration camp. that was liberated, and he was a double agent and was a crucial part of that liberation. But so all these souls, that all these French souls, and then you can see on this is a deer skull. So the deer skull, you see the ridge in the middle. It was kind of like the Adrian helmets. The French Adrian helmets had this ridge up the middle. You see flames on one side, and you see on the left side that water that represents that rebirth, that transition to spirit. On the top left corner, you see RF with the little flames on the top. That was actually an emblem in all French infantry helmets. On the right, you see flames, and you see the men's faces that are distorted from mustard gas, and also they're wearing the French Adrian helmets. And somewhere France lost, as far as men goes, from the ages of 24 to about 40, they lost about 70% in World War One. Permanent injury and death. Their casualty rate was incredibly high, and the amount of suffering that these men went through was intense. And then I helped him. I prayed for him, and with love, helped cross him over. And he came back and thanked me and embraced so much love. He just sent love right back to me. And he and many other Frenchmen are now at peace after crossing over, thanks to this. And this is memorializing their suffering and also their transition successfully to a place of peace in heaven. And then we have the French cross also on the left here. That is the cross of Lascaux. It is unique to France.
That is
That was,
so cool. That is so cool.
and this one is very similar. I did have another soul come to me. I want to say he's not in purgatory, but was God assigned this German soldier from World War One, who was a veteran, to try to help German soldiers who were stuck from World War One in purgatory, and that they needed to cross over and go out. So he had me paint this, and all of it has a lot of symbolism. So that on the top left corner, you see a mule, and it's kind of set in almost in the pentagram kind of format to indicate how evil war truly is. And a lot of mules passed in that war. There were many more mules than perhaps men that were killed in World War One. You'll see the trench that represents the trench warfare. You see the wrath of war on the top right, and the skull and the lightning. And you see a horse down there kind of in the middle. And you'll actually see soldiers, skeletal soldiers there taking orders. And then on the bottom left, you see a heart, a human heart with flames shooting out of it, representing the suffering that the men went through. And then on the bottom right, you kind of see this little doorway to heaven, to a place of peace where they were to go to. So this, when I painted this, and a lot of paranormal experiences, I was actually taken to purgatory where these men were, and I was over these trenches, and I could see like the men looked exactly like that. They were in this horrible state. And one of them looked straight at me, and he was actually very tall. He was so tall that his head and shoulders stuck over above the trenches. He looked right at me in skeleton form, and he says, "Are you here to help us?" And he spoke in English. And one day I was just relaxing in meditation on my bed, and I opened my eyes, and this guy was physically there. He was physically there. At first, he appeared as he did in life. He was quite a handsome young man, but then it went straight to skull. And he said in a very rough voice, "Save us." And I said, "I will do everything as I can." So I went back there, and purgatory, and all these men are there. And I actually asked for help, because Gruber was actually, his name was, the soldier that came to me was named Officer Joseph Gruber. We actually had a conversation in German over this. How are we going to help these men? So I went to purgatory, and I asked all these men there. See, there's like 10,000 of them. It's a huge number to cross over at once. So I asked the Mother of God to open the gate of heaven behind me, and to bring all these explosive, but all explosives made of love, and to bring them on the battlefield. And when we did that, all the men got distracted, and they would look down whenever an explosion would blow up. They would be whole again. They could look down, they could see flesh in their bodies, and they felt loved. And I said, "Look this way." So everybody looked my way, and I said, "March." I gave the order to march, as if I was a commander taking a battlefield. march. So everybody marched into that heavenly light. And when they got there, everybody was celebrating. Everybody was so happy. I got to see and celebrate with them. And they were shaking my hands. Many of them were thanking me, hugging me. They were reunited with loved ones. And I also saw a parade of mules for them. There were mules that had floral wreaths wrapped around them, parading in front of them. And they were overjoyed. They got to go back to their villages, their homes as they remembered them. And a lot of them came back in my dreams and were thanking me and have been periodically communicating with me from heaven as I'm relearning German, and they're helping me to learn German as a kind of a thank you. And it's a wonderful thing because
Oh,
thanks to them, I'm learning a lot of German. As it was a beautiful experience, and that many people all at once, it was incredible. And then Joseph Gruber also was very grateful. So this is something that the Holy Mother will showed me every year. For the beginning of the year, I asked Blessed Mother to show me what I should paint as a message from her, and this is what she had me paint. So you see, like I don't know whether these are missiles or meteors falling from the sky. But you see, there's this bridge. Every infrastructure's destroyed. There's no power because all the lights are out in the city. You see water, and there's some bottles in the water. She said the bottles represented that how our society is just very much into excess of everything and addictions and issues of that nature. And the destroyed bridge, represents our destruction that we wrought in this life. We destroy our bridges, we destroy our connections of love. And then she talks about like this is something that's actually going to happen, this destruction from the sky. And seeing this happen, I've had many people come to me and saying this is the very thing been seeing in my dreams. Something that happens from the sky, raining fire down, as we say, 100-pound hailstones, as the Bible says, raining fire down, and warning people about that. You need to get more connected with spirit and let the spirit guide you and be prepared for a catastrophe, because you may not be able to stay in the city. You may have to go elsewhere
yeah.
and try to fend for yourself, and but pray, but be God led, be spirit led. And this is yeah, this is one I did for a woman, and I just did a reading for her, and this was the message that I got from her guide, from her spirit angel for spirit connection, was that she had been through some terrible grief and that she can expect healing. So this being on the top left, you see their face in the sky. That's like clearing the air, like, and of course the sunbeam is coming out of the eye, represents tears being turned into joy. So it's tear turning into light, and then the bird representing freedom. And then all these colors, like her life is going to be vibrant with lots of colors and lots of joy because the sorrow has passed. And I think there's more in there. That is another one from the Blessed Mother. I asked her, is there anything that you can pass on to us as a lesson, or for people want to meditate on? And she said to call this the soul factory. So all of that center area is this vast space of heaven, and you see all these little orbs going in and out of there, and seeing all these different rays of light. That is actually heaven, and these beings are going back and forth. She said we need to meditate on this image, and as a first step to coming to our realization to that connection of heaven, that we need to focus on the soul factory, heaven, going in and out of heaven, that we can go there anytime, and we're from there, and we're going to be going back there.
Hey, Angela, I got a question for you. Have you ever painted a picture for somebody after a reading and it led to concern for them? And how do you respond to that?
Yeah, so one of the paintings I did that led to concern for me was this woman who had come to me, and I painted a German skull wearing the Pickelhaube, right, the spiked helmet from World War One, because she had a soul from purgatory that was attached to her. And I explained to her that, with this is just something that it's not really negative. It's just this person is in purgatory. I love to help cross them over, which that later evolved to that other painting and to help cross that person over. For as I've had dark entities attached, and I've painted demonic entities that have been attached to a handful of people. And I asked them, would you like me to help you to see if I can get help for you to get rid of this thing? And they often, they agree. They say that, yes, that's the thing I've been seeing in my dreams. That's the thing other people's been seeing around me. And I say a prayer and I ask Mother to open the gate of heaven, bring in all the light and love from heaven, and it drives those things away. And they feel the difference. I mean, you feel everything lift off of you as a result. And I help. If there's an issue there that concerns me, I do what I can to help.
See, I kind of didn't really realize this until listening to you talk through the paintings. Your number one thing is you're a light worker for the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else that you do is aspects of that.
Yes.
Yes. That's beautiful.
It
And
is.
she's always there at every reading.
That's very beautiful.
You have a wonderful website. Can people now? I know a lot of your paintings are very personal. They're painted for a person, but you also paint a lot of stuff that just are things that are told you to paint for a
Mhm.
particular reason, not attached to anybody in particular. Can
Right.
people purchase these paintings, and if so, where do they go?
Yes, absolutely. They can go to my Facebook page, Angela BOLEY, Psychic Portrait Artist, and just message me, and you can definitely purchase any of the paintings there. And I'll be in touch with you on Messenger. And if you end up purchasing one, I just send you an email with the link. You pay for it, and then I just ship it to you.
Do you do any kind of binding or cleansing of the painting so there's no um, any residual energy that might affect them in a negative way that arrives with them with the painting?
I actually have them blessed. So I have holy water, and I ask the Holy Mary Mother God to bless every single one and making sure that they're filled with love. So when they get the paintings, in fact, I have people tell me when they get them, they actually feel love coming off the paintings when they get them.
Very, very cool. That's how you and I. It's funny that Rick's here, and this is a little bit of a family reunion because that's how I first met you. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, I was doing on Rick's show, and I was doing a remote investigation, and he brought you in on the show to do a remote viewing, which is another one of your gifts of this
Mm-hmm.
location that my wife and I were having a lot of issues at. And we were also having a lot of issues in my home, and you had, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this was coming, caught me a little off guard that day, but you had painted the image of something that was uh, causing some issues here at my home.
Right.
And that was I should have had that painting ready for Zach to load up, but I don't really like to look at that painting much, not because it's not a just the nature of the painting and what
Right.
my wife and I were going through at that time. But I never forgot you for that, and I thought about buying that painting, and the reason why I didn't was we just we had been through so much. I didn't know what may or may not be attached to that, and I didn't want to take that chance because we were just then starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
in our battle with some things at that time here in the home. So I didn't want to rock the boat, but I'm sure you still have that painting floating around there.
Yes. Yes, I do. I do have it still here, so absolutely. And I'm working on a couple of paintings now, and one of them is the entity that had attacked me in the car, or harassed me. I'm gonna say not attack, but harassed me. It wasn't allowed to actually do any physical harm to me. The Holy Mother would not permit it, and I'm working on that now. And people are very a lot of wows, and just what I painted so far and the look of the thing. But understand these things are, they're under submission by the Blessed Mother, and they really these dark entities really, really are repelled by the Blessed Mother, because the Blessed Mother, every time I've been, even when I've been physically attacked, I know at one point my bed was picked up and dropped a couple of times. I was punched in the ribs, had large hissing in my room. And I say to Hail Mary, I could feel her presence come in and drive that thing out. It's the love. It's the exact opposite of their energy, what they represent, and they can't stand it and they have to leave. It almost like it burns them and they can't be around it and they have to leave. And I say to people, say the Hail Mary. Ask for the Blessed Mother to send her love and her peace, because that drives these entities out. They can't stand to be around it.
Well, before I have to kick you out of here, I can't believe the hour flew by so fast. Annette, is there anything you would like to say to Angela before she goes, or ask her?
This was just such a wonderful opportunity to dig deeper into what you do, and I'm just fascinated and amazed, and you're such a special person, and I just loved having you today, and I hope you come back soon. And
Absolutely. I
really enjoy, I think that all of your stories would be so enriching, and the paintings are kind of the cherry on top of the stories, but the stories hold their own by themselves. Just very amazing. You're an amazing person. After this hour, you're much more amazing than I already thought you were, and I already thought you were amazing, so that's a lot.
Well, thank you so very much, and I'm just glad that Jesus and the Blessed Mother chose me, and I don't know why they chose me, but they chose me, and I'm just honored to be a servant of theirs.
Angela, I love you. I respect you. Have a great, great remainder of your Friday and your weekend. And yes, I'll be throwing some dates at you soon. I like to get you back every couple, 3 months. And we'll get, I'll have you send me even more paintings next time, and we'll get them on earlier, and we'll just do a whole like gallery review next time you come on. Is that okay?
Absolutely, and I love you too. I love you both. You're both amazing, talented people. And speaking of amazing, talented people, there's Zach.
That sounds like more work for me. What? I'm not getting this whole thing.
We'll have to all pitch in and buy him like a shipment of dinkies. He loves dinkies. There's these like a half Twinkie, half ding dong things that come out. I can't find them here, but he's got them in Colorado.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, if we all pitch in together, it's a round Twinkie that's dipped in the ding dong chocolate. So they're supposed to be amazing. I hope I don't find them, although I've looked for them. And we'll have to maybe pitch in as much work as I'm going to have him do in the next time you're here. We'll all pitch in, maybe ship him a carton of those or something. But Angela, before we get cut off, I will see you soon.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Annette.
Wasn't
I love
that great?
you too and respect you too. And
I love and respect you. I appreciate you.
Throw out there to the cosmos before I
already kind of said it, so I'm good. I talked about what's new and what we've got coming up. So who's our guest next week? How about that?
Monday night is a Happy Medium Monday with Susan Ahern, and next Friday, you already talked about her earlier, it's First Friday with Ira. So
we're already to February. Fabulous.
Right.
Okay, silly me.
You're in my prayers. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, Zach, and everyone that's listening. We appreciate you.
I'll see you later. Okay. Monday, Happy Medium Monday, the first one of 2024. If you've ever wanted a free live on-air psychic reading, tune in Monday night. Susan Ahern, the Happy Medium, live from Cape Cod, will be here giving free psychic readings. And it's so easy. You just type in your reading, your question into the chat room. She'll read it and she'll give you your reading.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up again to Ann Iva, who asked if we can give psychic questions here. That's the perfect time for you to do it, is the last Monday of every month. So sorry we couldn't get to you today, but Monday's the perfect day for it to happen.
Absolutely. I'm glad you jumped in on that. That is the perfect day. If anybody tried to get a quickie reading with Angela today, Monday night's a perfect one for you. Just tune in live. It's a later show on Mondays. It's 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, should be here live. Susan Ahern, and all you do is type your question into the chat room. She sees it, reads it, and will give you your reading right there live on air. Help a seminarian get ordained to the priesthood. Myself, Deacon Bill Payne, and Deacon Mark Warren, we're all having financial difficulties getting to our retreat in Illinois in March to ordain us to the priesthood. So if you'd like to donate to the cause, go to usocc.org or bishopjameslong.com, and you can make a donation there for our cause. That's the church I belong to. We offer night prayer every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. We also offer Bible study every Wednesday afternoon and Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Pacific. If you're interested in that, the links to all of those things are there on those websites. Thank you to Zach and Adrian Clayton, my co-producers. I couldn't do the show without them because I'm completely computer illiterate. Go to Zach's website. Check it out. communitypayitforward.us. Just go there. Be pleasantly surprised. You know who Monday's guest is. Next Friday is Ira Wolfnesson. First Friday with Ira. People are still reaching out to me about Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists. Hasn't been greenlit for a season 2 yet. Hasn't been canceled, but it hasn't been greenlit for a season 2. I will keep people posted on that. But you can watch it for free now if you get on demand, travel HD on demand. You can watch it free. It's also streaming on Max and Discovery Plus, and that's Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists. You can find me now on Facebook at Lawrence Morais, which is a stage name. My original profile, for some reason, got deactivated and zapped by a hacker. So I'm on Facebook now as Lawrence Morais. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to PACT, little P, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel. Thank you to Parapost Network. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. And thank you to Spirit Alabama for all these networks simulcasting my show. God bless you all for doing that. And I think it's that time. It's bad joke time. I'm going to pull a bad joke that one of you sent in out of this haunted carnival barker hat. And it's my poor attempt to put a smile on everybody's face before I say goodbye. I'm only familiar with 25 letters in the alphabet. I don't know why. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. God bless you all in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Peace.